So previously, we covered drawing a petal for each movie, and then we learned how to apply D3 scales to map our raw data into our visual channels. And this is what we ended up with all of these different petals with the right colors at the right size, with the right shape, the right path string. And at the end of the changes the whole coordinate system when you apply a scale, as well as an extremely important note about if you end up chaining transforms. So if you end up chaining translate and scale, to be really careful about the order in which you chain, because depending on which one you put first, the coordinate system will actually end up looking different. How to turn each of those petals into flowers for each movie. So I think this is quite exciting. So let's do this. So if you're familiar with Adobe Illustrator, this is like if you put all of your path and other shape elements into a group in Adobe Illustrator and move it around or scale it or rotate it together. So with a flower, the new kind of SVG elements that we need to create for each flower looks like this. So it's got that group element, and we'll use that group element to move all of the children together to position in the right place for the grid, or right place in the grid. And we'll have the number of petals for each movie. And then finally, we want to just add a text element where we can put in the title for each movie. And just a note that group elements, G elements, don't render anything. So yeah, let's use D3 to build these flowers. So this is what the first part will look like. So we the flowers data that we calculated in the previous lesson, we're going to bind that flowers array to our selection of group elements. We're going to enter and append those group elements, and what will happen is we're going to get 135 of these group elements because we have 135 movies, and each of those G for simplicity. And if we're to take a look at what that D3 selection looks like, it looks like this. And so indeed, so the next step we want to take is we want to create a text with our title for each of these groups. And so the line we want is we want to take that group, that D3 selection of groups, the G, and we say append text. So important thing to note with D3 is whatever data that was bound on the parent element, when you create a child element within that, the child element inherits the exact same data that's been bound on the parent. So this is what's happening here. The text element inherits the movie data for that group. And because of that, we can, in this case with this group, the data says that the title is Minions, and that's why we can say get the title from the bound data and it will render Minions or it will render Inception. And so that's how kind of that data binding and inheritance is working. And so if we want to take a look at what the D3 selection looks of SVG text elements with the same data as the parent group elements bound to them.